Hello and welcome back. In this lecture, we will create a method to select users from the users table. This method can be used to select data from any table. So first of all, we need to create a user class. So create new file in your classes folder and save as user with capital U.php. Open and close PHP tag. And now to create a class. So let's say class user with a capital U. And now we need to create a protected variable. So protected DB. This will be our database connection variable, which we will get from our instant function, which we previously created. And now to create a construct method. So let's say public function __ construct function, and inside here we will say this db, which means this variable up here, equal to, and now here we will call our database class. So let's say database : and here will be instant function. So let's say instant function. This will return the database class, and this will make this variable up here the connection variable. So now we can use the PDO methods in our users class. And below here we will create our get method, which get users from users table. So let's say public function get, and it will take table name and the fields, and field must be array. So this will be equal to array. And now to get the columns from our fields up here, so create column variable. So let's say columns equal to implode function. This function basically join an element in an array. So basically we joining this comma inside our this field array. And now we need to get the index from our this fields array. So let's say array underscore keys. So this will get index values from this fields variable, and this will also add the comma. So inside here we need to provide fields name array. Now we need to get SQL query. So let's say SQL query SQL variable equal to select all from, here will be our table variable. So let's say table, and here we need to add the backtick. Remember, this is not a single quote, it's a backtick. And you need to add where, another backtick, open and close curly brackets. Here will be your columns variable, and another backtick, and this will be equal to column to make the placeholder for our columns to bind in our SQL query. So let's say open and close curly brackets again, and columns names again, and the line. And now to check if this SQL query is set. So let's say check if SQL query is set. If, let's get statement variable. So statement equal to this db prepare method. Now we to provide the SQL query variable. So inside here we will create for each loop, and we need to provide the fields name, fields array, and this will be equal to value. And inside here we need to bind our columns with this index key. So let's say bind columns statement bind value. This bind value functions binds a value to a parameter. So we can bind our values inside our SQL query to execute, which prevents the SQL injection. So inside here, we need to provide the index name by following the column, which will be our placeholder, which we set in this SQL query here. So now we need to provide the placeholder here. So here we need to provide the index name of the array. So this will be our placeholder. So open close curly brackets, key. So this will return the index name, and after a comma, here we need to provide the value for the value. So this will be our value, and this will be our column name. And now to execute the query, so below this for each loop, we need to execute the query. So let's say execute the query, and statement execute the query. So this will execute the query. Now we need to return the data. So below the execute function, we will say statement fetch method to return the data, and we need to return as object. So we can use the object to display the user data. So let's say pdo : fetch underscore obj for object, and now to return the fetch data. And now let's test this out. So go to your index page and remove this database method from here, and now to simply create a class object. So go to your int.php, and below this autoload function, we need to instantiate our class. So let's say user obj for object equal to new users. This will be our class object. So now we can use this class anywhere in our project. Now go to your index.php. Inside here you will say user equal to user obj for user object. Now we will count like our get method. So let's say get. Here we need to provide the users table, and we need to get the fields. So let's say array, and here we need to provide where clause. So where user id equal to, let's say 1, which will be our first user which we previously added. Now let's test this out. So let's say echo username. Now go to your browser and refresh the page. Now display the username up here. So we successfully created a method to get the data from our database. So in the next lecture, we will validate our this login form to allow users to log in. So see you in the next lecture.